Randy Jeffs from Irvine, California. The March 25th, 2024 Wall Street Journal reported that the Treasury market is about six-fold larger than before the 2008-2009 crisis. Do you think that at some point in time, the world market will no longer be able to absorb all of the U.S. debt being offered?
Well, I would say, the answer, of course, I don't know, but my best speculation is that U.S. debt will be acceptable, but for a very long time, because there's not much alternative. But it won't be the quantity. The national debt was nothing to speak of, for a long, long time, and then. It won't be the quantity, it'll be whether in any way inflation would get let loose in a way that really threatened the whole world economic situation, and there really isn't any alternative to the dollar as a reserve currency. And you get a lot of people who give you a lot of speeches on that, but that really is the answer. And Paul Volcker worried about that back in before 1980, but he had threats on his life, and I happened to have a little contact with him at that time, and he was an amazing fellow that in effect decided that he had to act, or the financial system would fall apart in some way that he couldn't predict, and he did it, and he had people threatening his life and do all kinds of things, but he was the man for that crisis. But it wasn't the quantity of U.S. debt that was being offered that threatened the system then. It was the fact that inflation and the future value of the dollar, the cash is trash type thinking that that was setting up something that could really affect the future of the world in terms of its economic system. And Paul Volcker took it on, and he was gutty as could be. And if you haven't read a book or two about him, or the one he last wrote, you really ought to take a look at it. But it is. I don't worry about the quantity. I worry about the fiscal deficit. But I'm not a worrier just generally. I mean, I think about it, but I don't sit and get up, work myself into a stew about it in the least. But I can't help thinking about it, and that's we've got a great attention. It's interesting, and I think the media enters into this, and the focuses on the Fed, and they just love it because things are always happening, and economists are always saying what's going to happen with the Fed and everything else. But the fiscal deficit is what should be focused on, and Jay Powell is not only a great human being, but he's a very, very wise man. But he doesn't control fiscal policy, and every now and then he sends out a kind of a disguised plea for please pay attention to this, because that's where the trouble will be if we have it. Yeah.